Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? What the heck is going on in Iraq? And I mean, there are a lot of things going on at one time. Good, bad, and ugly. Let's go through this and segregate the good from the bad, because there's good and bad both happening at the same time. We have got to keep our fingers crossed that the good will prevail. So before we get started, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, because it helps us get past the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate that. A quick disclaimer: I am not a financial advisor, an accountant, nor an attorney. The advice that I give is freely and of my own opinion. Hey folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right, gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. So head on over there now. You can actually own physical gold and silver. Go to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. And don't forget to use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y. If you spend more than $100, you will get a free half ounce of silver. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. And you guys know I have an alternative website where I post original content as well as other content that is banned from YouTube. It's $3 a month. All proceeds go to Finding Life's Purpose Foundation, and you have unlimited access. Be very careful of people out there trying to impersonate me. They're asking people to send them money. Don't fall for it. I will not ask you to go to WhatsApp, nor will I ask you to go to Telegram. And here's how you know if I'm the one responding to any of your comments. A person makes a comment. If I respond, you'll see a dark circle around my name. See that? From time to time, I will use material that is copywritten. Just so you know, I am exercising my fair use rights. What the heck do we got going on in Iraq? I can tell you right now, there's a Royal Rumble happening right now, and I mean a Royal Rumble. The elections happen on the 10th of October, and already we're seeing some bad actors step forward that you do not want to be involved with what's going on. As a matter of fact, they're already acting like they're going to form the next government. These people are supported by Iran. I'm talking about Maliki. Yeah, trying to move into the territory of Saudi and demand that Maliki become the next prime minister? No! This guy is the one that stole a lot of money from Iraq. He's corrupted his house. And now they're trying to force their way forward, claiming that they have the biggest supported bloc, and they are backed by Iran? Woo! No, you don't want them in there. We want Al-Qademi. Al-Qademi is moving forward. Here's something you guys got to remember. When Al-Qademi took over, he was only there to finish out the term of the prior prime minister, which was Maliki, the quitter, and rightfully so. But once he's voted in after a normal election, he serves 4 years. So it isn't just going to be just a quick 1 year and then we do elections again. No. If Al-Qademi gets in there, he serves 4 years. 4 years. We want Al-Qademi in there, man. American describes its relationship with Kurdistan region as a strategical partnership. Sure it does. That's like their little beady spy group. They want to keep an eye on Iraq on their behalf because they're not sure what the heck is going on in Iraq. So Matthew Toller, who is the ambassador from the United States, has been there for quite some time, even under the Trump organization. They had a reception in which the leaders of the Kurdistan Democratic Party, Barzani, to the U.S. ambassador, Toller, and the accompanying delegations in Erbil. During a meeting, the ambassador congratulated the success of the Iraqi parliament election and the victory of the Kurdistan Democratic Party candidates, expressing at the time his hope that these elections would become a reason for consolidating stability and correcting the political process in Iraq. Well, that's what you hope. That's what we want. But I do think it's interesting that the United States has been buddying up to Kurdistan a whole lot recently. Oh, look at this, what I'm talking about, man. The disagreement of Akeem and al-Badi splinters the coordination framework for the Najaf, prevents the return of al-Maliki with the message, yes, you want them to splinter. You don't want them to get along. Because if these two political parties, they own, I think, a combined 90-something seats within the parliament. If they do, that passes up solder. That means they can determine who the government's going to be formed around. You don't want this to happen because guess who they want to put out there? That's right, former Prime Minister Maliki, the criminal. It said the sharpness of the dispute between the leader of the Wisdom Movement, Akeem, and the former Prime Minister, Abadi, caused them not to attend the meeting of the coordination framework. At the time when sources from within the Shiite coordinating framework denied the news that they spoke about the latter's rift over the division of its parties between the support of restoring confidence in the Prime Minister, Maliki, to form the next government. Why the hell would you do that? This is an Iranian-backed puppet. Now, Abadi, he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of on the fence, good, bad. He hasn't done a lot of great things, but if he's teaming up with Maliki, this is not what you guys want. This is a bad movement for anybody interested in restoring prestige, calmness, democracy in Iraq. Forget the dinar. I'm more concerned about the Iraqi people. You put these people here, they are corrupt. They have run a corrupt government for a long time. Now, don't get me wrong, it does affect our dinars. I said that, but I mean, my focus mostly is to see Iraq get their crap together and do something for the people. I really want to go there and visit. I want to make money off my investment, but it's not as important as Iraq turning back to the country that I know it could be. One of the richest in the world where the people all prosper together. And I'm not just saying it to blow smoke up people's butt. I really want to go to Iraq. There are a ton of holy sites there that are on my bucket list that I want to go. Instead of meeting of the forces and blocs rejecting the election results, which was held in Maliki's office, who attended by all parties, skeptical of the preliminary results announced by the commission. So what's happening is now you got a group of political blocs that don't agree with the election results. If they start teaming up together, this really can spell disaster. So they all met Maliki's office, and I guess what he's saying is, hey, put me in charge and I'll take care of business. It said all parties skeptical of the preliminary results announced by the commission, except for the National Forces Alliance led by Hakeem. And between a source, the reasons for not attending, Hakeem and Abadi, are due to the existence of a dispute between them over the mechanism for distributing the candidates on both lists, which caused a loss or scattering of votes of their voters. The absence of one of the two parties from the meeting, which came out with expected recommendations, does not affect and does not give negative messages about the unity of the coordinated frameworks. It does if you try to put Maliki in there. On the possibility of Maliki returning to power, the source revealed that all political forces and parties have received an important message from the JIF that no party can form the next government alone, just as it's not possible for those who were in power to return again under any circumstances, meaning that they were cut off the way of the promoters or those seeking to restore confidence in the hands of the previous government. They're talking about Maliki. God, don't put that guy back in there. The actors of the parties that control the political scene in Iraq are still holding the threads of the movements of the future scene, and any talks outside of that context is not applicable on the ground, referring to the difficulties of the Saudis forming a government without the approval of America and Iran. Yikes. Iran has Maliki. The Association Bank announces the volumes of loans provided to the projects of the central bank's initiative. This is good because they are lending out a lot of money that are going to fund 8,612 projects. So these projects are jobs that need to be done within Iraq that's going to help with the infrastructure. This is outstanding because this is jobs for the Iraqi people. So the fact that they're now, granting loans worth $747.3 billion to 8,612 projects, as good as that is, they have to make sure to follow through with it to make sure that they are indeed going towards projects that need to be built. Good Lord, please help get Al-Kadhimi back in office. So the bank said, Al-Tariq said in a statement that the Central Bank of Iraq launched lending initiatives worth $1 trillion to support the economy and projects of all kinds, noted that 44 private banks participated in the initiative. Banks loaned out 8,612 projects worth $747.3 billion and contributed to the creation of thousands of direct and indirect job opportunities, in addition to lending them to hundreds of citizens to buy housing units. This is great news, as long as the money actually goes to these projects and the projects are completed. Remember, the financial advisor, I should say the economic advisor, Saleh, to Al-Kadhimi was saying, look, we have to start auditing these projects to make sure that the work is actually being done that they claim they're doing. Saleh is being invited to talk about the election results. You got a lot of people in there bucking the system. They don't like the election results, and they've been bringing what they call evidence forward. There is a lot of recounts happening. So let's hope that there were no fraudulent, Chinese mailing over ballots or, states closing in the middle of the night secretly and having people run in and pushing ballots through the ballot box. We don't want to see none of that stuff like we had in Michigan and crap like that. Let's hope that's not happening here. The attendees discussed the events and the facts that provide existence of major defect in the announcement and results in political and social tensions that led to it. The gathered forces agreed to confirm their rejections of the announced results and the rejections of the Commission's selective method in dealing with legal challenges and its demands to seriously consider all of the appeals submitted to it and to take actions, comprehensive manual counting and sorting of all the stations. Over 200 stations are being challenged and have to have manual recount. So whether you like the results or not and you think it's going in a good direction, the truth of the matter is the people's vote is all that matters. Whether they vote in the people you don't like or they do. Unlike here in our country, let's hope that they get the recount done and that the right people are in office. The Kurdish forces are waiting to be named the largest Shiite bloc to resolve their alliance to form the government. So this is part of the issue going on with the Maliki, Abadi, and Akim people. I don't know how this is going to go. When I said there was a Royal Rumble, there is a huge Royal Rumble going on over there. So despite what's going on in there, my fingers are crossed that Al-Kadhimi will be in there again for the next 4 years. The Kurdistan political forces have not resolved their positions regarding alliances with other political forces for the purpose of forming the new Iraqi government so far. The news is reporting it is currently waiting for the resolution of the crisis of determining the largest bloc within the Shiite house. After determining the largest bloc within the Shiite political house, which will be charged with the task of forming the new government, there will be dialogue and negotiations between the Kurdish political forces and this bloc. Although the most of the seats are held by Sadr's people, if these people form a coalition together, they can't beat Sadr's 73 seats. The Al-Fatah coalition is not the ones you want in there. The Al-Fatah coalition, which includes the majority of the armed Shiite factions in Iraq, has announced its rejection to the parliamentary results. Now keep in mind, the Al-Fatah is dealing with Hezbollah. That should tell you everything you need to know. The losing blocs meet to search for a solution that preserves their prestige and the Saudarists are determined to form a strong government. So what that means is the losing group meets with the winning group and say, hey, how can we make ourselves look good despite the fact that we lost? How can we restore our prestige? They work out how it's going to come out, and then they do it. The Saudarist movement, led by Saudar, called on the political forces rejecting the results of the primary election to abide by the provisions of the Electoral Code of Conduct, signed by the leaders and the leaders of all political blocs and parties, while expressing his response to any agreement that leads to the cooperation with the movement to reach understanding that contributes to the accelerating of the formation of the government. I don't have a problem with this, but what good is it if you guys sign an agreement and then violate it by fraudulent votes? That means this whole thing is non and void. So as much as I want Saudar to get in there, put al-Qadimi in charge, and that the prestige and sovereignty be restored in Iraq, I still think it's more important that the people who voted, their votes count, despite who wins, even if it's somebody that we don't like. Sorry to say so, but that's it. We don't have that freedom here anymore. That was stolen from us. I don't want to see that happen in other countries. It says the meeting of the political blocs and forces rejecting an election will discuss finding a political way out of that preserves the prestige and paves the way for future dialogue. In other words, help me save face. The Saudarist movement is proceeding with the ascending graph, which has revealed by the results of the initial election to obtain 73 seats, topping all forces and alliances. So this just goes on to talk about how Saudar is in the lead, but if these movements start buddying up together and create another coalition, they could prevent Saudar from building the type of government he wants. We don't want that. We don't want anybody that is supported and backed by Iran. We don't want anybody in there supported by the United States. What we want is those individuals in there that are supported by the people who elected them, period. The commission rejects 461 appeals against the election results. So there is 400, and there's more than that. There's 483 appeals were presented to the Board of Commissions. You can see up here, 461 of them were rejected. Over 200 county stations are going to be doing a manual recount. Oh, my bad. 297 stations. Wow, that's almost 300. 297 stations will be manually recounting their votes. Told you, there's a Royal Rumble going on over there. It is crazy. Saudar is the one in the lead with 73 seats. No, the second people behind him, the second political bloc, doesn't have, they're about less than half of what he has. But what you don't want to see is them start losing seats and then other political blocs that can combine and create a coalition to overthrow Saudar's group. That's what you don't want to see happen. There you have it. Not 297. 300 stations will be open for manual recount and sorting. So you have 300 stations. Two parties, one of them Kurdish, refused to attend a meeting of Maliki's house regarding the rejections of the election results. He is stirring up the dust, man. He is really kicking up some real trouble over there. All formed political sources said on Sunday that the Kurdistan's Democratic Party, headed by Barzani, and the Progress Party, headed by Halabasi, will not participate in the meeting of political forces that will be held later this evening. Now, here's the thing. They both come forward, just so you know, Barzani and Halabasi, saying that they support al-Qadimi, who's paved the way and the path to help Erbil get to where they are. They want to work with al-Qadimi, not Maliki. That has come out already. That is great news. So Iraq is close to signing a contract with Saudi Arabia for power generation so they can get away from Iran, hopefully. So it's a long article about that. The coordination framework is not in alliance, and the state of law expresses its desire for dialogue with Saudi. You can see here the Victory Alliance, led by former Prime Minister Abadi, denied seeking to establish the largest bloc through the coordination framework, noting that the goal of the meeting called by the head of the State of Law Coalition with political forces is subject of objections to the election results. So what is this, right? Is that right? Al-Badi's saying, I don't want no part of this. The goal of the national meeting today is to remove objections of the electoral process from the sectarian space of the national space, with the aim of giving visions and remedies to the current crisis and to assure continuations of the democratic process within the tracks that meet the integrity of the system and represents the people. So is this right about he saying he don't want to deal with Maliki? Good. So Al Sadr's coming out and warning people, behave yourself. You will follow the agreement that you signed, that you will accept the results of the election. As long as there's no fraud, I don't have a problem with it. So here's what I'm talking about. It said the losing forces, including the militia wings that participated in the election, most notably the Hezbollah Brigade militia, are calling for a recount of the election votes, which amount to 10 million electoral votes. That's a lot. Hezbollah, as you know, is a terrorist group. You don't want to be dealing with them. So Maliki said in a statement that the meeting scheduled for this evening is for the coordinating framework of the Shia forces to resolve the crisis of the election results. He is being supported by Iran. Of course he wants that. He's hoping that they can coordinate themselves together to try to get back in power. But you can see right here, that's not what people want. Maliki has Al-Qademi on his hate list. So keep that in mind too. So here's what they're talking about. They are explaining that the protesters began to demand manual counting and sorting while accusing the United Nations mission in Iraq, said it was cooperating with the outgoing government headed by Al-Qademi and the Iraqi Election Commission to steal the votes of the Shia political entities. For his part, the Sadr's movement, Sadr, in a statement on Sunday, called for the neighboring countries not to interfere in the current election crisis, in a clear indication that this is in response to an Iranian movement to form a bloc that includes the State of Law and the Al-Fatah Alliance led by Maliki, Hadi, Amari, respectively, along with other small blocs, collectively more than 90 seats. See, this is what you don't want to see happen. Iraq discussed with an international team tracking the source of funding of terrorist organizations. That's good. We want to be able to track them. The calm before the storm, the Prime Minister's stock exchange with its highest dealings, and the liquidation of faces at its end. Who won? So this is what I'm talking about when I say that people want Al-Qademi in there, and he is moving forward as if he won. While the names of candidates to head the new government enter and leave the Shiite stock market, Al-Qademi maintains his political calm and works as if he's staying for the next 4 years. Yes, we want him to be there for the next 4 years. There's what can be called the political relaxation that Iraq Prime Minister Al-Qademi enjoys after holding the election and announcing the results. The relaxation is not due to the success of the election and the results, but rather of what happened when the conflicting Shiite forces differ over the positions of the Prime Minister. Because there are those who see the rope of dispute is long and may be longer, while Al-Qademi's option is ready and enjoys a primarily agreement from the majority of electoral blocs. He went out before the election and met with them and got the approval of all the blocs, man. If we exclude the head of Islamic Dawah Party, which is Maliki, who added Al-Qademi to his hate list, also the Al-Fatah bloc will not forgive him for the conspiracy to exclude him in the legislative election. The Al-Fatah bloc believes that there is a democratic conspiracy in which the President Saleh participated with Al-Qademi and the Speaker Halabasi to exclude it in the election and lost most of its seats in the parliament and to obtain only 17 seats. So they're pointing fingers at the three big dogs and claiming that they conspired together to keep this group from gaining seats. As a matter of fact, they lost. So it says the Al-Fatah bloc is working to exclude the trio from presidential positions with all that it has. But the consensus is, in the end, would be above the revenge wishes. So in other words, just because they want revenge, because they feel like there's some kind of conspiracy, their revenge on these three particular leaders, it's not going to happen as long as the groups can't even agree on what's going on. This is awesome. This is great news. It appears to me, it looks like the same people. Saleh, Qademi, and Halabasi will be the leaders once again if everything continues on the path that it is now. Al-Qademi is accepted by all blocs. He has paved the way for many of the peaceful things going on. There is a demand for Shiite forces for Al-Qademi as a solution to save the face of the Shia house, whose walls have been demolished for years because they see in the blessing of the Najaf Authority for Renewal for Al-Qademi, a red line that is difficult for them to cross. Look, this is what you want, you guys. All political blocs saying Al-Qademi is who we want. The head of the Wisdom Movement, Hakim, who failed in the election and did not obtain, with the head of the parallel wing of the Daiwa Party, Al-Badi, only 5 seats, preferring to Al-Qademi over any other option, including Maliki. That's awesome. The former parliament speaker, Halabasi, sees Al-Qademi as a national option, while the head of the Kurdistan Democratic Party, Barzani, considers Al-Qademi a reliable ally, preferable to any other candidate from the Shiite bloc. The Kurds did not forget that Al-Qademi restored the path of Baghdad's relationship with Erbil. This is great news. It looks like Al-Qademi is going to be the big dog, along with Saleh and Halabasi. Oil price is rising, which is what you want. It's now up to 85.72, generating more revenue for Iraq, which means, in my opinion, let's go ahead and restore the old rates at the very least going into this next year. Now, this is interesting. Listen to this, because this should tell you what you need to know about cryptocurrencies and the Great Resets, the New World Order's currency. Al-Qademi's advisor comments on a news report that digital currencies and warns against one of them. Yeah, listen to this, because this is going to tell you why you should support cryptocurrency. Saleh revealed on Sunday that there are 2 types of digital currencies globally to the news through a report which was published. It said digital currencies that enter the regions of Western Iraq, the price of which reached more than $24,000 amid unprecedented turnout of its population. So cryptocurrencies are now coming into Iraq. There was one that was created, and now it's starting to pick up steam as people have more faith in the cryptocurrency than they do its own currency. Saleh told the news there are 2 types of digital currency, one of them which is called a cryptocurrency, noting that it is a system outside the control of the central banks and financial market, and it is traded through its subscribers and founders, so that there is a commodity exchange and coverage of transactions outside the control of international financial supervision. Don't you love it? Of course, that means a currency for the people by the people. That is cryptocurrencies. He's telling you it's outside of their control. They can't control it. He added that the cryptocurrencies are considered illegal in some countries because of the economic freedom, as some accept them and others reject them. Look at this, because of their economic freedom. They can't control it. Here's what he's warning, that the cryptocurrencies are put out there by companies who make big money off it. They run it up and then they collapse because it has no economic basis, which there's some truth to it, but not every cryptocurrency is that way. And that instead it is built on pure speculation, and that we should be careful of it. They're going to tell you that. They're just going to lie to the public and claim that. The truth of the matter is they can't control cryptocurrencies. That's what they want, is the control. And he says, regarding the official digital currency, the other world is heading to global digital currencies issued by global central banks, which are sought to be established by 3 global central banks, including the European Central Bank, the euro, the United States, the dollar, and China for its currency, the yuan. These digital currencies are important because they will reduce the cost of transactions. The central banks are going to control them. That's not what you want. We don't want that. We want the cryptocurrencies. So what he's saying is he's warning against them. He wants us to go into the New World Order. I'm not thrilled about that because he is the advisor to Al-Qademi, and he is pushing for us to go into the globalization of the digital financial system, the New World Order cryptocurrency. We don't want that. Anyways, you guys, it is crazy out there. It looks like Al-Qademi, Halabasi, and Saleh will be there for another 4 years. So far, so good. As long as the Iranian-backed blocks can't get their crap together, let's hope for the best, and we'll see how this turns out. Anyways, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it, and I'll catch you later. I'm out.